Hey moms. All right, so welcome to another episode of Wellness Wednesdays. So today I would like to talk about sleep and energy. Are you feeling tired? Do you have trouble sleeping, staying asleep, falling asleep? I kind of want to give us a new way to think about sleep and energy. So the way I like to think about sleep and energy is like a bank account. Okay, so when you have money in your bank account, you can take money out, right? So think about sleep and energy being an account that you put deposits in and that you can take deposits out of it. So it's hard to have energy and be sleeping properly if all we're doing all week is making withdrawals from our account but not putting anything into our accounts, okay? So I want to talk about a couple things that we moms do that take withdrawals out of the account. And then I'm going to talk about how we can put more deposits into our account so when we need to use it, it is there to help us. So the number one thing that we can do that really will take withdrawals out is too much caffeine. I love coffee, but there is definitely something as too much. So everything in moderation, I think, is wonderful. If you drink coffee or tea, just sometimes having too much, having an excess, that caffeine will really over or hyperstimulate your system. So that would be number one, would be having too much caffeine. Another thing that is going to take too much withdrawals out of our system is going to be not going to bed at a reasonable hour. I know. This one is such a struggle for me as well, because sometimes the only moments in the day where I get some quiet time are when my kids go to bed. And so I kind of constantly battle with, should I go to bed or should I try to get stuff done? Recently, I've really been trying to go to bed. I was at a seminar a couple weeks ago, and she actually said that every hour before midnight counts as 2 hours. Well, so that's why if you go to bed earlier, it is easier to get up early as opposed to going to bed later and then trying to get up early, or just even to get up later, sometimes we feel groggy. So think about it. If you go to bed at 10 o'clock, that's 2 hours before midnight, which your body kind of processes as 4 hours. My mind was blown. So I've really been trying to go to bed at a reasonable hour. So 10 is my goal. Man, some nights I'm so tired it's like 9 o'clock, or some nights I fall asleep putting girls to bed. So too much caffeine, not going to bed early enough. Too much alcohol. I love a good glass of wine, but sometimes too much alcohol is another thing that's going to stress the system, pull that energy withdrawal out. And then the next two things that I want to talk about, number one is eating too much sugar. We tend to, like, when you don't have energy, you try to get that energy, right? Like, so you have another cup of coffee, or you have like something sugary to give you that quick burst. But what's going to happen is you're going to get that burst of energy, and then you're going to get that drop. And that's not the best way to be managing our energy. I'm going to give you some clues in just a minute on how you can do that. The other thing I would say is not eating enough. So if you have caffeine in the morning, it's really important to eat, to feed your adrenal glands. Sometimes not going too long without food or proper food, right? Like, Sometimes we go too long, we need that energy, we reach for the sugar. That is not going to be good for the system because it's going to make that blood sugar go up and down, and it's going to drastically spike the blood sugar, which is going to cause that lack of energy and help you not sleep. So just to review, when we're taking those withdrawals, it's usually like too much caffeine, not going to bed early enough, burning the candle at both ends. You ladies know what I'm talking about. Not eating enough, too much alcohol, too much sugar. Yeah, so those are going to be a lot of withdrawals. So let's talk about how we can make deposits into our sleep and energy bank account, and how those deposits, we can draw on those deposits when we need it. So number one is going to be reduce stress. So the thing about stress is that it's the one constant in life. It's always going to be there. So the things that we need to increase is our body's adaptability, our body's ability to adapt and manage stress. So there are several ways that we can increase adaptability and increase our ability to manage stress. So number one for me is get adjusted, because chiropractic is going to stimulate that parasympathetic nervous system. It's going to stimulate that healing part of the body. It's going to take us out of that sympathetic overdrive, and it's just going to bring everything back down. Another very important part of my routine is going to be intentional movement. So I don't really like the word exercise. I think intentional movement is much better, especially for mom life, because sometimes just moving for 15 minutes, not in a structured way, but just doing some like foam rolling, some stretching, taking walks, getting in nature, that kind of intentional movement is really going to fill up that sleep and energy bank account. So moving our bodies is so important to, you know, move that stress, get it out of the body, relax and calm the mind. Another thing that I really love are a supplement called adaptogens. So adaptogens have recently become very popular. And remember, I talked about adapting and managing our stress. So an adaptogen does just that. It basically helps our body adapt and manage the stress so that we can be healthier, our systems can be stronger. There are a lot of adaptogens, and I'm just going to touch on like 4 of my favorite. So number 1 would be ashwagandha. And basically, like, they are going to help by adapting to what you need. So they're going to work in different ways in different people's bodies. So ashwagandha is my all-time favorite. Rhodiola is another adaptogen that I love. Schisandra, hard to say, but that one is great. I actually have a supplement in the office that combines the two, rhodiola and Schisandra. And another one that I've used with success is eleuthero. All of these are herbs, and when you're doing an herbal supplement, it's very important to note sourcing so that you're getting a therapeutic dose. In the office, I carry a line called MediHerb, and MediHerb is from Australia. They're all therapeutic doses, so they work extremely well. And so those are some great adaptogens. So another thing that we can do to reduce stress would be B vitamins. B vitamins get depleted when we have too much sugar, too much stress, and B vitamins are another way that our body helps us calm and relax our mind. A lot of symptoms of like anxiety, depression, sometimes just adding some B vitamins can be very calming to the system. So that's another one that I love. Drinking water. A hydrated body is a happy body. Most people discount water, and oftentimes when we think we're hungry, sometimes we are just thirsty. I like to carry something like this. So the best way to figure out how much water your body needs is you take your body weight, divide it in half, and you drink that much in ounces. So if you weigh 100 pounds, you want to drink about 50 ounces of water. This Yeti, I think it's like 30 some ounces. So I try to drink like 2, sometimes 3 a day. I like water, so I drink a lot. But that's a good way to measure how much water you're actually getting in. The last 2 things I want to talk about are more so practices that we can do to help put deposits in our sleep and energy bank account. So number 1 is saying no. It's so hard. I know. But overcommitting ourselves is so awful for our energy. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, just, you know, pull your way through it, or, you know, you can do it. Sure, you could do it, but at what cost? At the cost of your health? At the cost of your sanity? There's a subtle art to just like saying no. Sometimes when someone asks you to do something, before you like instantly commit, you gotta just kind of check in with yourself. And then sometimes you commit to something and you get to that day, and I know it's hard to disappoint people, but your health is number 1 priority, and these practices that you are showing your children really will reflect into them that it is okay for me to honor myself, to say no. I can't do everything. I can't be everything to everyone. So when you say no, I want you to think about that makes a deposit into that sleep and energy account. Your body says, yes, thank you. And then the last practice is, I like to call it white space. I'm not sure if you're familiar. This might be a new term for you, but you have to have white space somewhere in your life, okay? So white space really is time for you, mom. Time to do what you want to do. Do you want to read a book? Do you want to sit outside on your patio? Do you want to listen to some music? What do you want to do? So your week needs to have white space. When you have this intentional white space in your calendar, deposit, deposit, deposit in that sleep and energy bank account. Your body, your mind, your spirit, your soul, everything says thank you when you are doing things that serve yourself, that serve your highest good. So just to review the tips on how to put some deposits in. So the main thing I'm putting deposits in is reducing stress. So for me, number 1 is getting adjusted. 2 is intentional movement. 3 is taking some kind of adaptogen in combination with a B vitamin. I think B vitamins can be very beneficial. Making sure I'm staying hydrated, saying no, and then creating white space in my calendar, in my week, in my day. It does not have to be a lot of time. Sometimes, you know, white space could be just like 10 minutes of like just quiet. I know sometimes as a mom, that's what I crave. I crave to like just sit there in quiet. So I hope you found some really good tips. Remember, I want you to kind of rethink sleep and energy, right? Think about it like a bank account. So through your daily practice, I want you to think, am I making too many withdrawals and not enough deposits, right? So how do we deposit into that account so that when we need that good sleep, we're getting that good sleep, and when we need that energy, we're able to pull it out of the system instead of drawing our accounts negative. So thank you for tuning in, and if you know a mom who would be helped by the information that I share in this group, please invite her. And just a reminder to everyone that this Saturday, October 19th at 10 o'clock, we're meeting at Touch of Health for an amazing yoga class by one of my all-time favorite instructors, Natalie Leach. So I hope that you can make it. Space is limited, so please do sign up via the event page, and I hope to see you all this Saturday. In the meantime, keep making those deposits in that Sleep and Energy bank account. Thanks.